Welcome, friends. Today, we are doing another first impressions video. Tremendous. That's right, friends. Once again, I have returned to you with another first impressions video, and today it is a very special first impressions video. And this is because I have, thanks to DJ, your friend and mine, friend of the channel, 3 samples from the house of Roberto Greco. Roberto Greco is, or was, a photographer. Is or was, I'm not sure. I'm not up to date. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. He is a photographer, but he decided that his photographs could be augmented with a perfume, which is a fantastic idea, actually, I think. Perfume is extremely evocative, as pictures can be. So this is his take on perfumes. We have here Rock, Oilerez, and Porta Sapo. Sorry, France. I have just absolutely annihilated your language. I do apologise. I've tried and there is not really much I can do about it. So, forgive me. You know? We will start at the end. And that is with Rock. Rock is the latest release from this house. It was made by Christopher Sheldrake. Roberto Greco has employed 3 of the finest perfumers available to humanity at the minute, and the latest is Christopher Sheldrake. I will read the blurb. It is quite a blurb as well. I can tell you there's a good 4 paragraphs here, so bear with me. Rock, the French word for horse, as in horse, you've got a sore throat, you're feeling a little hoarse, you know. You're not feeling a little pony or like a midget horse. You're feeling hoarse of your throat. Rauque, the French word for horse, because like a somnolent voice, I answered with foggy scenes the silences of a daily life that prohibitions let out of breath. January 2021. In my Parisian flat, the time was numb, the days uncertain to the point of losing touch with our senses and with the others because they meant danger. In that enclosure, I brought spontaneity into play to create a diversion and belie my thoughts. From this introspection, sometimes feverish, sometimes exhilarating, Rock was born. A series of photographs blending suspended compositions and captured portraits. After all, freedom is not asked for, it is searched for and seized like an antidote. With a glass plate device that dissolves the contours of my subjects, I wanted to engage in a dialogue with absence and presence, indoor and outdoor. The obliteration of the object, which, through the viewer's imagination, takes shapes stimulating peripheral awareness, a struggle then begins between the image and its disappearance. The image is a flat envelope. Not enough for me to fully translate the essence of my allegories. So, since 2014, I've been incorporating an olfactory dimension into my photographic series. This allows the viewer to access sensory perceptions additional to those of sight. Thus, Rauque, l'objet parfumant, the perfuming object, created in close collaboration with perfumer Christopher Sheldrake, comes to dress or be dressed by the photographic series. Rauque, l'objet parfumant was born from my encounter with perfumer Christopher Sheldrake. We have elaborated the olfactive creation as I was working on my visual creation. Not forbidding ourselves anything, we wanted to be driven by artistic boldness. Fucking artistic what? Artistic boldness? I've heard of pattern baldness. I'm a victim of pattern baldness, but I've never heard of artistic baldness. Maybe he meant boldness. And if our alphabet was made up of words and images, it sometimes included music and taste as well. I would like the smell of a body about to implode. This is how our olfactory exchange started. The waxy basement of a mushroom farm, a doughy allop soap, a sticky piece of leather left in the back of a stable, the muzzle of a cow, an old box of Japanese incense smelling of ancient dust and flowers, marked by the patina of time or forgotten fruits, with carnal accents. We censored nothing to best convey the idea of a feverish body surrounded by sleepy lives. Odd ideas and risky materials abound, but Christopher's mastery was the safeguard. Nothing was to fear. Everything would be enhanced. That was a lot of words. I can tell you, that's taken me a good couple of minutes to read that. Dear me. What all this amounts to is a perfume. And this perfume, Rourke, I have here before me a sample very kindly provided by DJ, is the latest in the series. The top notes, according to Fragrantica, are cassia, violet leaf, myrrh, mushroom, osmanthus, narcissus, acacia, leather, ambrarome, and pine tar. Good Lord. Okay, so ambrarome is not an amber wood. Apparently, it is a. It's like an ambergris derivative thing. You know, like something made to mimic ambergris. Instantly, when I spray this, I get the violet leaf and that cassia, that violet leaf, blueberry, blackberry note leaf kind of thing. Fresh, little bit reminiscent of Fahrenheit, because it's got the leather and the myrrh as well. Touches of Fahrenheit Absolute. It's got this very strange thing starts to happen in the middle of the fragrance where everything starts to sort of, like he was talking about the image and how on the plates, when he puts the plates together, it bleeds the image, and that's what this kind of does. It sort of bleeds out and separates out into its constituent parts. It all still makes sense, but after that first blast, what you sort of get is you sort of get this separating of resin, a rubbery, slightly fruity kind of texture to the fragrance. You can feel that about it, you know, and a little bit of depth, which you keep getting, like the evocation of like a basement. Think of this house like a 3-story. Think of this perfume like a 3-story house. You know, there's an upstairs, there's a downstairs, and there's a basement. Upstairs live all the plants, live slightly fruity, floral kind of things. Those smells kind of waft downwards towards the ground floor, which has this kind of resinous, floral, rubbery sort of texture, as from up from the basement you get this kind of damp, waxy, rubbery, thick, textured, grippy, you know, like the rubber on a balloon. It's like quite grippy, you know. There's friction there, but rubber friction, and that kind of body about to implode thing kind of makes sense. The osmanthus, I get a lot of the osmanthus in this. I've smelled osmanthus Absolute thanks to Dura Rose, and I get a lot of that in this. I also get, I don't know whether it's like psychosomatic or if it's like the power of suggestion, but like I get the mushroom too. I get this kind of, you know, like the surface of a mushroom, the feeling of a mushroom. It's got this kind of grippy, it's like the skin of a balloon, you know. It's got that grippy, rubbery kind of vibe to it. It's fresh, strangely, but not classically fresh. It's not like citrus. It's not. It's not. It's not like that kind of boring, pleasant fresh that we get these days. But it's got this kind of. It's got this kind of vibrancy about it, like a life about it. It's very interesting. It's very well made. It's good ingredients. There's no stinking, reeking amber woods here. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. I've actually finished that. It's quality. I really liked it. Next up, we have, I believe, the first from the brand. So we've gone from the last to the first. And this is, God knows how you say it, and I do apologise. This is Wallerez. Ulere. I don't know. I'm just saying words now. I'm just making noises, to be fair. Okay, so here we have Wallerez, released in 2017. The perfumer is Marc-Antoine Corticciato of Parfum d'Empièce fame. Very interesting. I didn't know he did outside work, but clearly he does. Wallerez, l'objet parfumant, is articulated around an anti-flower, half green, half animal. Anti-flower because I want to echo the flowers that I photograph without mentioning one in particular. With Marc-Antoine Corticciato, we therefore excluded the rose, the jasmine, etc. All these flowers are too concrete. And it is partly thanks to chamomile and broom that we managed to capture the general idea with their facets of dried flowers, pollen, and honey. To refer to the figures I photograph, another of my wishes was to approach the aspect of the flesh. For this we have searched for the animality in the vegetable notes, as well as in different spices and resins. It was not an end in itself, but the fragrance is loaded with natural raw materials, sometimes pushed to the extremes, and will express all the better the organic duality of my images, between the delicacy of a petal on the decline and the radicality of a fold of skin. The fragrance object is a limited edition of 500 pieces created under my artistic direction by French nose Marc-Antoine Corticciato, and is based on a half green, half animal anti-flower. According to Fragrantica, this has chamomile, eucalyptus, lavender and broom at the top, hay, cumin, pollen, mushroom in the mid, mushroom again, in the base, natural musk and styrax. It almost certainly doesn't have natural musk in. I'm not sure that's legal, but anyway. This is floral but not. I get the anti-flower vibe. It's again, I don't know if it's the power of suggestion. I would like to think it's not, but I get this kind of dry, desiccated end of summer flower kind of thing, like a meadow. It's not pretty flowers in a garden. It's not fields of immaculate like rose or like lavender and things like that. It's not that kind of thing. It's not pretty. It's natural. It's natural beauty. It's nature in its element. But there is this kind of dryness there. It's very soft. It's very unthreatening. It's green. It's yellow. Little dots of white. It's smooth. Again, it's clean. It's got this kind of... It's got this kind of soily, earthy aspect to it. Not geosmin, but low down to the ground, couple of inches off the ground kind of thing. You know, when you were a kid playing out in the grass and stuff like that. It's got that about it. I definitely get it. Like, they must have used some kind of peppery incense kind of thing there, because it's just sitting there in the background. It's got a touch of something by Filippo Sorcinelli about it. Dirty Priest. Sweaty Priest. Some kind of bacterial skin, like, life breathing aspect. It's very dry, but it's also got some like the chamomile and the eucalyptus. I get some of the eucalyptus as well, although it's not like really minty. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. It's got something dark lurking behind. Something a little bit leathery. A little bit green as well. A little bit spicy. Very, very good. It does remind me a bit of a Filippo Sorcinelli. It's got that kind of modern perfume, not in a bad way. Modern perfume can cut both ways, usually bad, but this one's got a little bit of quality about it, actually. It's got... What else has it got? Subtlety. It's the way it changes. It's not like some bombastic, outrageous kind of menace that will frighten off the neighbours' kids, you know, and make everybody talk about you. Okay. Last but not least, this is Porta Sapo. And this was released in 2020 and was made by Rodrigo Flores Rue. Okay. So, Roberto Greco says, Porta Sapo, wearing one's skin is a reflection of my way of thinking, deformed as it may be, and of my life experience. Wearing my skin like I'd wear blinders to see better and farther, and has been my way of looking into myself through a series of photographs. I have had to lean down to perceive the shimmering image of another me. Naturally, the narcissus flower was the obvious choice when I started thinking of this fragrance. But Rodrigo Flores Rue. Beyond its symbolism, its ambivalent facets express the rawness of nature, as well as a more carnal imagery. To materialise the grainy and misty texture I gave to my images, in which perceptual confusion gives way to a form of clarity, we have played on the nostalgia of aldehydes blowing cool and hot facets, the floral down of pale hawthorn, with the insidious velvet touch of moist flesh before vanishing into animalic fumes of salty musks and ambergris accord. Okay, so according to Fragrantica, this is aldehydes, hawthorn, angelica and clary sage at the top, Narcissus, Ylang Ylang, Orris, Jasmine, Bran, and Bulgarian Rose. And the base notes are musk, hyrax, ambergris, leather, oak, moss, patchouli, tolu balsam, vetiver, akigala wood, and white sandalwood. I'm not sure where they got that note listing from. I'll just tell you what I get. When I first smelled these, this one was my favourite because I felt like it was the easiest and the most recognisable perfume for me to understand. This starts with those sparkly, prickly aldehydes. I also get a lot of the orris. This has got a very traditional heart, whereas Willarez has the anti-flower. This is very much the flower. It's got that ylang, iris, jasmine, rose heart that you'll find in a lot of Chanel's, and this does remind me of a number 5. Not quite as opulent. It's a little bit more fresh. It's a little bit greener, but it's on those lines. This is now probably my least favourite of the 3. It's got a big white yellow floral thing going on in the mid with the narcissus, ylang, jasmine, rose, and then musk in the dry down. Very, very musky. It's got the smell of grandmother's flesh. It's got wrinkly, clean and classy and well looked after and groomed and stuff, you know, but it's very soft, it's very baggy, it's very wrinkly. It's got that kind of classical, clean grandma kind of things. It smells a little bit old-fashioned. It's very musky, very aldehydic, very floral, very classic. The narcissus is probably the main player, that kind of white floral element. And the iris helps with that kind of powdery vibe as well. That's my first impressions, friends. We will go back over the 3 of them. Rauque, you definitely get that kind of violet leaf myrrh thing that you get from Fahrenheit Absolute, but then it's got these other dry, leathery aspects to them. Very modern, and yet it smells like the type of thing Serge Lutens made in the 90s. You know, very kind of classic but different. Classic with a twist. Beautiful. Rauque's really nice. Juarez. This becomes more and more Solcinelli-like the more I smell it. This isn't the first time I've smelled these. This isn't really a first impressions. This is just an impressions. Tried to film this video yesterday, and it got to about this point in the video, 25 minutes through, and the phone decided that it wasn't bothered anymore, so it just stopped and corrupted the file. I was very upset by this and had to lie down for a bit. So here I am filming this again. If it does it again, I will cry. I know that where LS dries down in the far drying to a horse leather, like very horsey. Like it smells like the horse and the saddle. It's oily, it's leathery, it's dark, it's firm and tight, and it makes that noise when you sit on leather, that like kind of like that crunch movement, that kind of thing. But it's brilliant. This is now my favourite of the three, I must admit. And of course, it's the only one that's sold out. So, of course it is. I'm sad about that, but they do still have a couple of bottles. These are sold at Javois. If you're interested, they don't do samples, which is why, again, I am very grateful to DJ for providing these to me. I feel very fortunate to have a mate like that, and have many mates like that who have supplied me things that I wouldn't usually be able to smell. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. Forgive my hydration. And last but not least, we have Porter Sapporo. The most classic, it's quality if you are a lady and you want something a bit, if you want a classic smelling perfume, a little bit like talc, a little fresh, aldehydes, floral, musky, you will enjoy that greatly. And that is it, man.